Ladies and gentlemen, today on the YSN channel, very, very special guest, someone I haven't seen since I was probably 10 years old, but we kept in contact. Introduce yourself, man.
What's up, guys? I'm David. I used to live in Yanni's neighborhood over a decade ago. We used to play soccer together, probably U8, U10, um, and basketball too, right? I remember you were balling too back in the day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and yeah, I remember I was doing a little work with the podcast. Yanni told me he was listening in, and we kind of just connected back again and asked me to come on and talk about my favorite team. Uh, Milan, of course, and Milan is red. So very happy to be here. Very excited to talk about calcio.
There we go. So yeah, man. So some background. Me and David lived in the same neighborhood. I moved to Valley Road, North Reading, Massachusetts, when I was in the second grade. I moved from Medford, Massachusetts, and I stayed in North Reading from second grade to like middle of sixth grade, and then I moved to Virginia, and I've been here ever since. Since then, we were just talking about it before that we started recording. I haven't seen David since I was 11 years old, maybe 10. So it's been pretty wild, just thinking about that. But yeah, I remember because we did play on the same soccer team because I remember your dad was the coach. I do remember that.
Yep. Yep.
So shout out, Mr. Luongo, big man over there. But yeah. So we're here to talk calcio. Unfortunately, we had someone else plan to join, my boy Massimo, but unfortunately couldn't make it. We'll get him on the channel another time though. But yeah, big result over the weekend, David. Obviously, the Rossoneri are hype. Leao shows why he's the Serie A MVP. Thoughts on the game and thoughts on what's going on moving forward.
First of all, incredible game. 3-2, loads of goals, tons of action, and a lot of fighting, which is pretty normal in a derby, as we all know. But honestly, just an incredible spectacle. Great advert for Serie A in general. Leao shows his value, why we turned down $100 million offer from Chelsea.
Mhm.
We're gonna stick to that 150 release clause, and I totally think he's worth it, especially with the inflated market. Seeing guys like Anthony go for 100 million, other guys like Fofana, who are both very good players. At this time, 100 million is not what it used to be. So
Hmm.
we're talking about a 23-year-old kid who was the MVP last year, as you said, and now he's stepping up in massive games. Down the stretch last year, I think in the last 9 games, he got 9 goals and assists, which was absolutely crucial for us.
Crazy.
Winning many games, 1-0, 2-1. But yeah, it was amazing to see. I mean, it was actually his first derby goal, which he made a brace. That was incredible. And Olivier Giroud stepping up again in the derby, just so great to see. And now that this marks 3 times against Inter that we've been down, either come back to tie or win. So it shows a lot about the character of this team. It shows a lot about Pioli, just seeing all these young guys flourish. When Leao came here from Lille, he was a really, really raw product. Everyone thought he was, clearly had a ton of talent, but he had a lot to work on. And I'll credit Pioli for making him the player who he is right now, and also plenty of other young guys. But yeah, just overall, I had a blast watching that game. A bit stressful at the end, but another shout out to Mike Mignon. He's an incredible goalkeeper. And wow, like I never would have thought we would have replaced Donnarumma with someone as good as him that quickly on a third of the salary. So yeah, very, very excited. And it's great to win another derby.
Hmm. For sure. And by the way, let's circle back to Donnarumma later in the show because I want to talk about that too, especially with you. So I want to see your thoughts on that. But yeah, Mike Man, yeah, dude, I know they were saying in the commentary, giving him shouts, could he start over Lloris in the World Cup? So that would be a big, big shot for Magnan. He's obviously been an incredible keeper, arguably the best in Serie A as well. So just talk about that Milan youth system that you guys got going on right now. Obviously, you have some great products come through the academy, but the young talent in that team is I think what's keeping you guys over the edge of everybody else. You look at Leao, you look at who is like I said MVP, Kalulu, Tomori, Benacer, Tonali. These are guys who could start in most of Europe's squads, but they've come into Milan kind of raw, like you said, not like fully, cut out for the Serie A, but they've come out and they've become stars. And you saw how Benacer played. Like you've seen how Tonali has had, he came with a big, big what do I call this? Like a big aura around him, like, oh, he's the next Pirlo, all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And while he may not be there just yet, he's showing how quality he is. Besides Leao, since we already talked about him, who's your favorite young guy in the team?
It's a really, really tough one. Well, now that I do have Italian descent, so if I had to pick between the many great options that there are, I'd probably go with Tonali. Like you said, the hype around him was crazy. People are saying he's the next Pirlo. I actually think he's not quite a comparable player to Pirlo. While he does have a great passing range, he's more of a dynamic defender as well. So I kind of view him as like a hybrid between a Gattuso and a Pirlo
I was about
because
to
he
say
has like
Gattuso.
a Gattuso edge to him. As you can see, he gets in people's faces. He's the first one to defend his teammates. I'm already waiting for the day that we make him a captain because he's like perfect leadership material. And he's only, I think he's 22 now, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it was so tough because I forgot to even shout him out because it wasn't just those two guys that I first mentioned in the Derby, but he had another tremendous performance.
Yeah.
He was another guy that down the line to winning our Scudetto scored a couple goals in the last couple games, which is not really why we brought him in. So if he's someone that can defend the way he does, control the pace of the game and also add a couple goals to his game, this kid can be one of the best in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part about it, I think, is he grew up a Milan fan. So you can see how much he loves playing for the shirt. He dies for the badge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of just an overall theme of this team. Seeing guys like Tomori and Teo to renew without any drama, I want more. You can only offer this. I can go to, wherever, City, PSG, and get triple.
Mm-hmm.
We got guys who are committed to the project, guys who are saying, I want to see Milan return to the glory days. This is a club with 7 Champions Leagues. People can't be forgetting that. Just because we're on the younger side of the generation, and we went through 8 years of Banta era. Let's remember, the history of this club.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing guys like that who are saying, "Yeah, we're gonna stay here. We're gonna work together. We're still one of the youngest teams in Europe, and if we can keep the group together, I don't know. Anything can really happen. These guys are all like 23, 24. A couple more years, they all hit their prime, and if they all reach their potential, we can really be a force to be reckoned with."
For sure. Before we go on to the next topic, I got someone that wants to say a quick hi. It's been a long time, but
What's up? How we doing, man?
Good, dude. It's been so long.
It's been so long, over a decade.
Yeah. So Milanista, right?
Of course, man.
I see.
you're talking to a Juve guy over here.
Oh,
I'm a Juve man, but it's a transition. I say the last 2 years for us.
oh yeah, rebuild.
Yeah. I was really upset when we sacked Pirlo. I think going back to Allegri, we're just like this is not like a step forward, it's a step back, in my opinion.
Mhm.
He had his time. I think this was like we were supposed to, change the club, change the attitude at the club, bring in new ideas, and now we're kind of back to the same old Allegri style of very, very defensive, score one goal, defend the entire rest of the game. But like I feel like that doesn't work anymore.
It's
Like,
watching paint dry. It's the ugliest brand of football that can be out there right now.
yeah, and like we have Vlahovic,
Chiesa.
we have Chiesa hopefully coming back soon. We have Di Maria now, who are like playmakers. These are goal scorers, and yet we're still playing the same style of football. Like we have Chiellini, Barzagli, and Bonucci at the back. This is not like the same Juve defense that we used to have. I don't know, 6-7 years ago. That was at its prime. We have a
And
new,
Delit left.
yeah, and Delit left. We have a new defensive, back line. Yet we're still playing like we have the three that we used to. It's just I think it's an old style of football. We have to change it.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, like you have guys like Vlahovic who are touching the ball 10, 15 times a game, and he's a player on his day. I mean, for many people who don't watch Serie A and kind of just focus on the other leagues, if he was given the ball and you guys played around him, he would be putting up crazy numbers like he did at Fiorentina. But now he just has guys like Di Maria around him, and when he actually gets back, that's a front three that could be one of the best in Europe if you guys play to their strengths and actually play attacking football and not just, score a shithouse goal and defend for the 87 minutes after. So I think it's a shame personally, but as a Milan fan, I don't mind it.
Yeah, well, I know you guys are riding a good high right now. I saw the Derby this past weekend. Man, Rafael Leao is what a
We were
player.
just talking about that.
What a talent. What a talent, man.
Yeah, so Anyway, it was good seeing you, man. I'll let you guys get back to the convo.
Good to see you, dude.
And good luck to the rest of the season, man.
You too.
All right, later, bro.
But yeah, back to what we were talking about earlier. Obviously, like you said, this is a project that players need to commit to. That players, if they're committing, it's a future that might be all right. I don't know about this, but a mid-2000s Milan run would be the peak. It would be the maximum that you guys can get to, because that run, you know, two Champions League finals, multiple Serie A titles. I mean, that was Ancelotti. That was prime. That was peak Serie A. That was everything. But how did you feel from when Pioli first stepped in, and how has your thoughts on him changed as you guys went along? Because not a lot of people like Pioli.
Completely fair point. I think he coached 7 Serie A teams, and over those years, including Inter, over those years, I think his only achievement was one Coppa Italia. I could be wrong, but I know for sure this was his first Serie A. So his first real achievement comes in his 3rd year with us. In all honesty, I don't know if you remember, about 2 years ago, he was pretty much done. We had a Ralph Ragnick pre-agreement with contract. It was only a matter of like one more iffy performance, maybe a draw or a loss, and Pioli was going to be out of here. And in full disclosure, I was kind of backing that. I kind of looked at Pioli as a guy who, like I said, a classic Serie A journeyman manager. Didn't really work out anywhere. Nothing to get too excited about, and never really talked about as even a top manager within Italy, never mind Europe. So with that all being said, he brought us a title for the first time in a decade. We're now 21 unbeaten in the league. He's done it with pretty much dirt amount of money compared to the other top teams in Europe or even in Italy. I mean, other teams spend more than us. We work with very little in terms of what we can do in the transfer market. And back to what I said about Leao, and he's not the only one. A guy like Teo coming from Madrid and not necessarily flourishing the way he could have comes here. He's arguably the best left back in the world, if not top 3. Guy like Tomori comes over from Chelsea. He gives him the confidence. He steps up. There's so many names I can think of guys who just flourish under Pioli, and you can tell how much the players love him. So just seeing the players want to die for him, and now the fans love him too. Obviously, Pioli's on fire. It's been our chant for months now. It's incredible to see. I completely have his back. I'm almost still in a state of like shock. Like, how is he really still keeping this form up? Because I would have thought at some point, we're doing so well. We haven't lost, and this goes back to 2 years. Even when he brought us back to Champions League, which is again massive accomplishment. We weren't in it for 8 years. Seeing that he continues this form and it's been going on for this long now, you just have to give the man credit, because I never would have thought it would have come this quickly. I thought we were a couple years away. I thought we had to make a couple more moves in the market, but he's completely exceeded my expectations. I think he needs more credit than he's honestly been given.
I think he's done an incredible job, to be fair. Like you said, when a manager takes control of the dressing room and has the players playing for him and they'll die for the badge, it can be the club's maximum potential. Like, that's what you need in the club. For example, like, he's been playing very poorly lately, but James Milner will die for a Liverpool badge. And that's what I like about Milner. And Trent the same way, Verge the same way. Like, these players, they will die for the badge, and that's why us Liverpool fans, we love them. But moving on from that, obviously we don't need to talk Liverpool. This is calcio. But a big run coming up for you guys. Obviously, European football is starting this week. First game is against the Zagreb, I'm pretty sure. And
it's Salzburg.
Salzburg, okay. Salzburg. And obviously they have a young new talent who I think was linked to Milan for a quick second.
Sesko?
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe I think it was United as well. But
I think also Chelsea. I think kind of just the links are about the European market are all over the place, so we don't really know what's true and what's bullshit. But linked around top clubs for sure. So
I have Milan winning the group. Your thoughts and predictions?
I'm not totally sure I'm ready to say that we're going to win the group. Chelsea just brought in $300 million worth of players. Previously, 100 plus the summer before, as your guy Lukaku went there, and another 200 the summer before, in which they followed by winning a Champions League. So it's kind of tough to say how they're going to look, over the course of the fall. but given how they are right now, given our form right now, I give us a very good shot to win. Although I would still say, because of all the money and all the talent that Chelsea still has, given even with the disaster they're going through, they're a deeper team than us. The schedule's about to get crazy. We just played a derby. Now we have our first Champions League game. It's just going to be a lot, and I still am hopeful, but I'm not ready to say that we have the depth to fully compete at the highest level in both the league and the Champions League. Like as we saw last week, we tied Sassuolo with a couple of rotation guys that just didn't quite step up enough. So with all that being said, my main goal is to get out of the group. We were in the group of death last year, as you know, Liverpool, Atletico, Porto, and I am fine with that because that was a very very good group, and gave us a bunch of tests against the best in Europe, and in many ways it helped us win the league because all we had to do was focus on the Serie A games instead of managing multiple competitions. So my goal for this season and what I expect is that we at least get out of the group. I'd say a goal that I'd be happy with is getting to the round of 16, competing, even if it's against a top team. If we don't get through, getting there, even getting the money of the competition. The type of stuff we have to work with is we have to think about, how much should we actually get from winning out of the group? Because that's going to go straight to our budget.
Mm-hmm.
And my reach goal would be a quarterfinal finish. So I'm pretty realistic about, our experience as a team, our age, and our lack of depth. So I would love a quarterfinal run. But yeah, I'm happy for I'm excited for the ride. So we'll see.
So, like you said, the fixtures are heating up. Obviously, Champions League is the Europeans' biggest competition, but Serie A schedule for you guys is also heating up as well. You got Sampdoria away, Napoli at home. Obviously, we talked about the new Georgian winger for Napoli. I don't know how to say his name. How do you say his name?
Kvaratskhelia.
Kvaratskhelia. And he's been on a tear, 4 goals in 5 games. Then you guys have Empoli away, and then the old lady, the Bianconeri at home, Juve. So, like you said, the schedule is heating up. From those 4 matches, obviously you're most scared of Napoli and Juve. Not scared, but you're most, willing to go get a tight one with those two. Who do you think? Because I think you guys can win the league. I didn't predict that, but I think you can. Who do you think is your biggest threat? Because obviously there's like the 4 teams. There's Napoli, Roma, Juve, Inter. So who do you think is your biggest threat and why?
So if I just go through all of them, Napoli was great last year. They were in first for maybe around half the year, and they made that title push until a couple of weeks left. Their summer happens, they lose a bunch of guys who have been there for a long time. Koulibaly leaves, Mertens, Insigne, Ospina leaves. They bring in a bunch of young guys. So I think they're flying right now, and I think they're a very exciting team. I don't know if they're going to keep this up because all those guys are new, and it's tough to maintain this form over the course of a whole season.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people were ready to say they're out of the top 4 and that Roma we're going to be in. That's going to be a close one. We don't really know how that's going to unfold yet because Roma, too, has a whole situation where they're getting injuries. When Wijnaldum's already hurt, Zaniolo is a walking crippled man.
Mm-hmm.
Tammy hurt his shoulder yesterday. So my expectation for Napoli would be not necessarily to compete for the title, but to really almost secure that top 4 spot. And I think it's going to be very close. So I wouldn't say Napoli. Juve, I really don't know with them. We just talked about it. They have the team. I argue they're more talented than us. They just don't have a system right now. And they're also getting riddled by injuries. Pogba comes, he gets hurt in his first preseason game. David Rhea is already not even going to Paris tomorrow. Picked up a minor injury over the weekend. Chiesa, we don't really know what he's going to look like yet. I mean, one of my favorite players, I'm Italian too. We all saw how good he can be and how good he was at the Euros. But he doesn't come back until probably around the new year, if not sooner. It's tough to say. So Juve have too many question marks and they have too many injury problems. And I don't trust Allegri, so I wouldn't say them. I'm still going to say Inter. I think they always will be there. They have struggled against us in the league in the last year and a half to 2 years or so, but they do often beat up a lot of the bad teams. And overall, I would still say they have more depth than us. If you look at the guys that we bring off the bench right now, they're not necessarily on par with Inter. I kind of feel like there's a step down when we have to make subs, or like I said, we have to rotate against what was seen against Sassuolo. I think Inter have more depth, so I think it's really going to be again the two Milan teams fighting to the end, and it could come down to the last day again, which is why it's so important that we win a game like we did this weekend. So
For sure.
I would say Inter right now.
All right, David. So I'm going to talk about three more topics with you. We'll talk your Milan 11, your best Milan 11. We'll talk Donnarumma, and then we'll finish with the Azzurri. So let's talk your best Milan 11. Floor is yours.
Ever,
Ooh.
ever or right now?
Let's do both. Let's do both.
Ever, ever is just so hard. I struggle with that like so much. I'll go right now first because
Okay.
that for me is pretty easy.
Mhm.
Mignon in goal, Teo, Tamori, Kalulu, Calabria for now. We just brought in an American. We'll see how that unfolds.
Mhm.
Two holding, same guys, Benessere Tonali on the left, Leao up top. For now, Giroud, I would expect Origi to be starting a couple games down the line, especially with the rotation. And I really like what he can do in terms of pressing. And let's just face it, Giroud is 36 now.
Mhm.
So I thought it was incredible that he played 90 minutes as much as he did last year, but I don't expect that to happen again. So I would say because Origi's still into the team, I'm going to stick with Giroud, CDK behind at the 10, of course. And on the right, and I hate the right, it's our biggest problem. Macia, Salamakers, they're both just shit, and they rotate. Whoever comes on plays a little bit better because they're mad they didn't start. It's the biggest headache ever. Um, I'm gonna go bold because why not? I want to start Dest with the right wing. I want to take both those guys out. I know he's not traditionally a right wing, but I know he's more technically gifted, and I just don't trust those guys, and I'm sick of it. That's probably a knee-jerk reaction and an emotional choice, and probably something stupid. But I would at least give the kid a shot because we saw what he can do going forward. His biggest problem is him getting lost offensively and kind of keeping has his head in the clouds and loses his marker. We have the best defender ever at the club. Maybe he can work with him. That's something that he could improve in his game. So we'll see. That's what I would say right now.
You wouldn't throw Rebic on the right?
I've been saying that we should try that for a while. Again, I trust Pioli. He probably would have tried it by now if it was something that he thought he was capable of. And yes, I do agree with you. He's more talented than the both of our right wingers, but for whatever reason, Pioli doesn't see him as an option at right wing.
He just likes. Where did Macias come from? I feel like he just came out of nowhere. Where did he
He,
come from?
he came from Crotone,
Okay.
and as most people know the story, he was delivering boxes. He was a delivery man in Italy about 5 years ago. So he was literally not a professional player a couple of years back. Got signed by Crotone, Serie B, got promoted to Serie A, played
Yeah.
pretty well, and that's how we got him.
Wow. That's an insane story. One player that I really did like on your guys' squad, but I feel like he's just fizzled out kind of and like, loan move after loan move. I really liked, I think it was it 2018? Bakayoko had, I think, a great season. I don't remember if it was with y'all
It was Monaco. You're talking about way back. Monaco, he was an incredible player
yeah.
on that team that made the semifinal run. He looked like the next Conte of sorts.
Yeah.
Made that big move to Chelsea. Have no idea what happened. I don't even think he got hurt significantly or many times, but just went downhill from there. He did have one good loan year with us.
Yeah.
Um, and since then, he's just been super disappointing. I mean, every time we brought him on last year, immediate liability, he would just hack someone, he would give it away. And the situation is pretty sad because we tried to find a solution for him, but from my understanding, he decided to just collect the paycheck and we excluded him from the squad. So I don't even think we can play him anymore.
Yeah.
That's how much of a liability he's become.
That's crazy. But yeah, so like I said, we'll talk about the one and only Gianluigi Donnarumma. And obviously, it's every Milan Academy product's dream. 16 years old, captain of the club, was with the club for what, 5, 6 years. He
I think
was,
it was closer to 7.
Yeah, and he was, obviously he's the hero. He's the kid that, became one of the best keepers in the world. And then all of a sudden, contract talks start happening. You hear rumors he's leaving, he wants to get the check, and then flash forward, he's wearing the 99 in Paris. How do you feel? And do you still have that disappointment and kind of anger of him leaving that most Rossoneri fans do?
I'm pretty broken about this. So I'll start off by saying like I am Italian and I do support the Azzurri. So when he's in that shirt, I'm gonna root for him. I want to make that known and clear. I would never root against him while playing for Italy because why would I? I think that's very stupid and arrogant. Um, Personally, I just don't really understand it. Like you said, came through the academy, was like one of the youngest goalies to ever start, impressed immediately, was a big part of how we got back into the Champions League. Literally could potentially, and this is not me jumping at all, just like the idea of it was out there that he could be a legend quite like Maldini. I think it's upsetting. I think it says a lot about this generation. And I just don't see where his head's at. Like I get there's more money, but we were willing to offer him, I believe it was 8 million was like our cap. Like we're not gonna go higher. And I believe PSG offered him 12. Who am I to say don't take the extra 4 million? But you have an option to be a legend, potentially have the most caps ever for Milan. And you got back in the Champions League. Isn't that what you wanted to play? I mean, you've been playing for that long, and we never been in there. But now we get back, and the first thing you do is jump ship. Personally, I just have a strong hatred against PSG for what they've done to the sport and how they can just bring in whoever they want, and money will never be an issue. I have no idea how it's legal. We can get into FFPL another time, but
Mm.
they're somehow able to pull off what they do. So how I feel about them overall, I'd say if you asked me a year ago, I would have said I hated him. I kind of just like pity him at this point because today in form, Magnan's a better goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
And if you looked at Donnarumma last year, he was part of the reason why PSG got knocked out of the Champions League.
Yeah, yeah.
He had a bunch of howlers, and it was always a problem at Milan. His feet were always so questionable. I used to joke about that and say like, whatever, he's trash. He has no feet, just to joke around. It did show a lot. So overall, I would say I just pity him. Like he's definitely jealous. We just won the league, and
Mm-hmm.
sure he won the French league, but what does that really mean? When you go to PSG, you go to win the Champions League, even though they never have. That's
Yeah.
always the goal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's disappointing. I still don't really get it, although like I said, the money, the glory, whatever. I think it's just massive missed opportunity for the kid, and I think it's something he regrets.
For sure. And I mean, like you said, could have been the most caps ever. Could have been like a Maldini type player. One club man is always. You look at like we'll throw back to Liverpool now. Steven Gerrard to this day says he regrets leaving to LA Galaxy. Like, I mean, obviously it's not the same type of move, but
Right.
being a one club man is a special thing in football. So for him to, throw away that opportunity just for the money, and I mean, I'll sprinkle this in here, but it's for different reasons. But Insigne leaving Napoli, I mean, it's like you're 31, 32, you're the captain of the team. I mean, maybe there's something behind closed doors that they told him you need to get the hell out of here. But me and my brother, when we saw that Toronto FC Fabrizio notification, we were like,
It's
dude,
like, is that real?
yeah, we're like, what the hell is going on? But moving on past that, speaking of Insigne, speaking of Donnarumma, obviously it hasn't been your guy since that one final in 2021. The Azzurri obviously have not, succeeded the way they've wanted to. Second straight World Cup that they will not appear in, which is like almost unbelievable. I remember me and Massimo talking about this, like, dude, I don't even know how this is like possible. Like, this is Italian football.
It should never happen. It
Yeah.
shouldn't even come close to happening.
And my biggest problem with the Italian team, I mean, this is like I'm reaching. Obviously there's a little bias in there. This is my guy. But why not give Balotelli a chance? Why continually put Immobile and even they put what's his freaking face? Joao Pedro up there. Clearly they're not like Immobile, yes, for Lazio, he's incredible. To be fair, I'm pretty sure he has the
And that's it, though.
yeah, and that's it.
You can stop there because
Yeah,
that's all he does.
yeah. He never
And
turns
and,
that.
and mostly against shit teams, by the way.
Yeah. Like he never turns up for the Italian shirt. And I mean, obviously Balotelli is in Switzerland now. He's not like a top club man, but I feel like that was your last great number nine. What are your thoughts about that, and what do you see for the Azzurri going forward?
Well, on the number nine end, I have some hopes for Skamaka. I think he can be a great player.
Mm,
He's kind of a freak athlete. He's 6'4". He's
yeah.
acrobatic. He's not an Ibra type level player, but he
Mm,
has that Ibra edge to him where he kind of just does things that you wouldn't expect someone his size to do. And he has that screamer effect. He just scores like pretty much only screamers. It's very strange. Um,
like Ruben Neves, dude.
no, seriously. Um, I think Italy not qualifying was honestly a testament to how much Chiesa was carrying that attack. If you looked at the Euro games, he was always the best player in the front three, if not the best player on the team. And seeing how much they missed him, I mean, there was just no one to replace him. Berardi was trash, and Sunier was quiet in the qualifiers. And Immobile once again just doing absolutely nothing. It's very upsetting, but I kind of look at it like this: if you had told me, all right, qualify for the World Cup, even make a deep run, like go to the quarters, go to the semis, or win the Euros, I'll take the Euros. It's a trophy. The European Championship, if you look at the run that we had to win that,
Oh yeah, it was
Austria,
crazy.
good team. Belgium, for whatever reason, number one ranked team in the world. That was not an easy game.
Hmm.
Spain was excellent, if not the better team in that game. They probably deserved to win. And then England in at Wembley. It's an incredible run. It's something that will always be very close to my heart. And I'm so happy I got to be part of that and fully experience it as an adult and fully understand the game now.
Hmm.
It was so fun and amazing. But I look already to the next Euro. We could have one of the best midfields in the world. If you look at Telly, Tonali, and Barella, those three together should be entering their prime in about 2 years, maybe a couple more. But that could go against anybody.
Hmm.
I'm a little bit concerned defensively, but maybe some guys, Bastoni will step up, Mancini. I like Destiny Odogi. It's a name that I think people are going to start to know soon. Scored again this weekend, and I'd expect him to play significantly at Tottenham next year. So I think the future's pretty bright.
For sure. So, like you said, Skamaka, I think he could be that next guy. Will he? We'll have to wait and see. I got a soft spot from Moise Ken. That one season where he had, I think it was for the Euros. Like I wanted him in the squad so bad because he had like I
Yeah,
think
didn't make it.
yeah, I think he had like 18 goals that year with PSG. I thought it was going to be like his time. They picked an Raspadori over him. I was so salty, but it is what it is, man. David, thank you so much for coming on. Next time, I think what we're gonna do, because you gave me an idea today, when we bring on Massimo, we'll do Milan all time 11, and then we'll do Roma all time 11, and then I might throw in Italy all time 11.
It's
So
tough. Yeah.
that would be awesome, man. Thank you for coming on. Obviously, I haven't seen you in like freaking over a decade, which is insane. But say hi to the family for me, man, and stay safe out there, bro. See you soon.
Thanks for having me, dude.
All right. Now for that my outro, this is Yanni Sports Nation signing out.